Hello, I'm Lara Kulcharslan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Bangladesh is set to usher in a new era of politics. 2 years after the Gen Z-led protests toppled Sheikh Hasina, Tariq Rahman, a man who spent 17 years in exile, is set to become prime minister.
History has just been made in Bangladesh. The BNP has won majority in parliament, giving Tariq Rahman, son of Prime Minister Khalida Zia, a clear path to becoming the prime minister in the country after 17 years in exile. This was the first election that took place within Bangladesh after Sheikh Hasina was ousted in 2024 and her party, the Awami League, was banned from running. Now, the BNP only has one rival left, and that's the Jamaat-e-Islami. They're going to be acting as opposition, but they are far behind from the BNP. A lot of things are unfolding within South Asia right now. Follow to stay in the loop into all of this.
Bangladesh has 170 million people, where the average age is around 25. Protests in 2024 were driven by young people angry about a policy that reserved jobs for the descendants of freedom fighters. Their anger quickly spread to corruption and economic decline. Prime Minister Hasina cracked down hard, but protesters held their ground. In August, she resigned and fled to India. In November, Hasina was sentenced to death for crimes against humanity over her treatment of protesters. Her party was banned from this poll. Mohammed is in the capital, where expectations and emotions are running high.
After a peaceful and participatory national election, the people, especially the young people of this country, are expecting that the country will run based on rule of law and democracy, and there will be job opportunities for the youth, and they will live in peace and harmony. There will be no political chaos or political conflicts.
First time experience, of course, it would be really great, and it was fun actually. I mean, as a first time, I always heard about that, like my father always voted, and I heard about, and this is the first time I gave votes. 17 years, there was only one government. I want something different, like someone who will make this country more developed in front of the whole world, somewhere more that will have morality and some leadership qualities that will not harm the people, and they will think about the poor people and their distress.
As we spend more and more time on our phones and social media, can tech companies really be held responsible when users become addicted? A 20-year-old American woman, identified only by her initials KGM, believes that algorithms hooked her to social media and damaged her mental health. Her lawsuit is now being heard in California in what's shaping up to be a landmark case. TikTok and Snapchat settled before the hearing began. YouTube and Facebook and Insta's parent company Meta have decided to have their day in court.
Her lawyer just told a jury that this case is as easy as ABC, addicting the brains of children. Now, here's what makes this so important. Internal emails revealed that a Meta employee literally told Instagram head Adam Mosseri that they are basically drug pushers and that Instagram is like a drug. The employee said Mosseri freaked out when he brought up dopamine.
So YouTube just walked into a courtroom and said, we're not addictive. We're not even social media. And YouTube's lawyers are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not Instagram or TikTok, okay? We're basically Netflix with a comment section. People come here to learn, cook, fix their sink, or watch Ariana Grande, not doom scroll. They even said their algorithm isn't trying to rewrite your brain, it's just asking what you like. Meanwhile, the plaintiff's lawyer pulled out internal Google Docs where employees literally called their features slot machines. Awkward. So what's Instagram's defense? Well, they say her mental health issues come from her family problems, not the apps. And that her therapy notes, which were entered in as evidence, didn't mention social media addiction at all. Now, this case is the first of thousands. If she wins, courts could force apps to redesign features like infinite scroll or pay out massive damages. If she loses, tech companies could get a huge shield from future cases just like this. Now, generally, critics say that these apps are engineered to keep kids hooked. And the supporters say there's zero proof they cause any addiction and millions use them just fine.
Countries across the world are considering guardrails to protect children from the harms of social media. All eyes are on Australia, which imposed a nationwide ban for under-16s in December. But is cutting off social media the way to go?
Can platforms still hook users if access is delayed?
Don't get those habits ingrained at a young age, then it does become more difficult. And actually, that is one of the things that I think is good about this, is that it stops that addiction that is happening at a very young age and gives people the choice to have something different. But one of the things I think is underpinning this whole debate and this discussion is an absence, currently at least, of evidence.
Does social media contribute to poor mental health?
In the time that obviously we have started adopting social media, we have to bear in mind there have been huge changes in our lives in other ways. We have gone through a global pandemic. We have gone through, if you look in the last 20 years or so, huge changes to our economies, including multiple recessions. And so really, I think what is difficult to understand scientifically and what we will get from the Australia experiment is a real understanding of how much of this addiction, this worry, this anxiety that we know and recognize is happening in our young people is due to social media, and how much of it is actually due to external forces.
How will big tech work around these restrictions?
You know, in some ways, the tech companies have been treating this both as a welcome measure and also as a concerning measure. So they like to say publicly that this is something that is good for them. They will adhere to the rules. They believe in responsibility, and they would have done it themselves. But actually, if you're going to bring in regulation, then fine, we will also follow that. But we might have other ideas of how it could be done better. And you can believe that honestly if you want, or you can not believe it depending on your stance on big tech and social media. But at the same time, there is a massive lobbying campaign going on to try and weaken these laws and to hammer them down. The Digital Services Act, which is of course one of the ways in which this is being enforced in Europe, and one of the ways in which we're starting to see this really cracking down on social platforms. But there are other rules going through European parliamentary procedures right now to do with the digital world that have been weakened a little bit. And I think what we're starting to see is some of that money and time being spent on lobbying really starting to bear it in watering down some of this legislation.
Canada is reeling from one of the most devastating mass casualty events in decades. The shooting in Tumla Ridge in British Columbia shattered the country's sense of safety and raised urgent questions nationwide.
Investigators state that this attack actually started at Jesse's home first. That is where they found their 39-year-old mother and 11-year-old stepbrother, both dead. The suspect then went by the nearby school in which they did attend many years ago, and then killed a 39-year-old school teacher, 3 12-year-old girls, and 2 male boys aged 12 and 13. Police recovered 2 different firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun. Neither of these were registered. As a reminder, Canada does have some of the most restricted gun laws, and so they're going to be doing a full investigation to see how they were able to get this weapon. And police did confirm that there had been issues with this suspect. There had been multiple instances of them going to their home because of mental issues, including a firearm seizure that happened 2 years ago that was later reversed through a legal pension. Police say that the suspect did act alone. There was no apparent motive on what had happened here, but they're going to do a full investigation.
So the questions that will determine whether this was preventable. Number 1. Was Jesse ever in ongoing mental health treatment, or was it just crisis intervention and release? Number 2, when someone is apprehended multiple times, what happens after the hospital? Number 3, when those firearms were seized and then returned to the lawful owner, who was that? Number 4, if police kept responding to mental health crises at that home involving this person, why were guns allowed back in that home? Number 5, how did an 18-year-old with an expired firearms license and no registered firearms end up with a long gun and modified handgun?
One of literature's darkest love stories, Wuthering Heights, is back on the big screen, and the Steam adaptation has got the internet hot under the collar. When the cast was first announced, many fans of the book were upset, and now that the movie is out, the debate has started again.
Every single review that I have seen so far of the Wuthering Heights has been, the gowns are really beautiful, really nice cinematography. It is a movie,
If you love Wuthering Heights, the book, there are only traces, whispers of the book in the movie, for better or for worse, and I'm saying worse. Emerald Fennell only adapted the first half of the novel, and she cut so many characters, which is fine. She cut Catherine's brother Henley, she cut the Lintons' parents, but she did the thing that we all predicted she was going to do. She completely erased the central plot line around Heathcliff being racially ambiguous and non-white, and that being the central conflict for why Catherine and Heathcliff cannot be together. I so wanted Emerald Fennell to be better than this, but I know we've all seen the interviews where she said she was making a version of the book that she read when she was a young person, and clearly she imagined Heathcliff as white and race not a big deal or central to the story whatsoever. But I think she saw how audiences reacted, so she was like, here, damn, I'm going to give you a little bit of representation. I'm gonna cast Shahzad Latif, a Pakistani, British, Scottish man, as our blue-eyed, fair-skinned Edgar Linton, and fine, I'll make him rich and kind too. And you know what? Let me throw in some more representation. I will make Nellie Dean Asian American by casting Hong Chau.
As the world tuned into Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, US skater Ilya Malinin stole the spotlight with a gold medal backflip. The gravity-defying move wowed crowds and reopened one of figure skating's most rebellious chapters. The move dates back to 1976, when it was first performed by American skater Terry Kubica. Just weeks later, it was banned for being too dangerous and too much like gymnastics. Skaters then faced penalties for attempting the backflip. But now, the move is back in focus, and people are talking about Francis Suryabanali, who stunned the Nagano Games in 1998 with a daring one-foot flip.
Surya figure skated her entire life. Figure skating, gymnastics, like this was her thing. Judges were always saying her moves were too harsh. You know, she wasn't flowing the way the other girls do. And it's not lost on me or anybody that Surya was a dark-skinned black woman. When asked about this, she said that she had changed everything about the way she skated, what made her different and special, even how she looked. She played by the rules and it still wasn't enough. So fast forward to the infamous year, 1998. She was on her way to the Olympics, but she had a pulled groin. And it was too close to the Olympics for France to find a replacement skater for her. But after falling out of medal contention at the Olympics, Surya decided to do something that would etch her name in history books forever. She was gonna do a backflip, even though it was banned. And not only did she do a backflip, okay, she did it like one-legged little situation. While her rank in the Olympics dropped from 6th all the way down to 10th, Surya said she did it because she wanted it to one day be legal, or to at least have them write everywhere that Surya did it because I was a pioneer. 2024, figure skater Adam Shoham Fa also wanted backflips to not be banned anymore. So in his free skate, he did a backflip, and that same year they changed the rules making backflipping legal. But I think the craziest part of this entire story, the fact that in 2024 at the World Championship, when Adam did his backflip, the person who had to deduct his points for doing this banned move was none other than Terry Kubica.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.